Welcome back to another edition of Gen Sports Corner. Back at you. Post Eagles game victory, man. Me and my co-host Ryan, we're gonna break it down for you, man. You know what time it is. Before I get into it, like, subscribe, share, so you know every time that we're dropping new content. And with that being said, let's go into this Eagles win. One that in a game that got a lot closer than it needed to at the end, but we got the dub nonetheless. What do you think about what you saw, and I want you to start off offensively from the Eagles.
Um, the one thing I did notice, regardless, Saquon had a very impressive game. I still seen a lot of vanilla play calling from the offense, in my opinion. I felt like the play calling needed an improvement again. A lot of predictable play calls. I don't get me wrong though, I love what I saw from Saquon. He got 205 yards on the ground. Jalen Hurts 131, but 131 passing yards. But there was times where you look at Jalen and he's sitting back there like forever. You know what I mean? Holding on. You got to live to fight another down and just get rid of that ball. And just it's just I don't understand. It's like we're beating a dead horse, right? Like constantly talking about this, like get rid of the ball, get rid of the ball. But also, we also talk about how long these route concepts are taking to unfold, and is that the reason also why he's holding on to the ball too long? Is taking very long to for these routes to develop. So he's taking forever to unload that ball. It could be because of that too. But still, you need if no one's getting open, then you need to get rid of the ball. That's simple, right? And you got AJ Brown, you got Devontae Smith, you got Dotson, like you got all these weapons. I mean, I like what Dallas Goedert did in the game. He had some nice catches. He had a nice 30-yard play. But outside of Saquon, like I said, fantastic game. But everything else, it's like still needs room for improvement, in my opinion. Not horrible, but like I said, still had Saquon still obviously killed it, but I have concerns about this passing game, and I also have concerns about Jalen's knee with him getting bent backwards, and it sounded like he might have a sprained MCL, which is also going to limit his running ability. That was a nice pop off though in the beginning of the game where he gained a 44-yard touchdown. That was huge. That really helped us gain momentum throughout the game, but
Yeah,
that, yes. But outside of that, as I mentioned, it just still needs work,
absolutely.
you know?
All the things you hit on were extremely important because you look at Jalen Hurts in the day he had 20 passing attempts, 15 completions, buck 28 through the air, no touchdowns, no interceptions, rating of 91.2. But key stat here, 7 sacks for 63 yards. Can't have that, including the one safety. And that was after the knee injury. But this comes back to you don't have the mobility. You have to be more efficient as a passer, getting the ball out quicker when there's nothing there. When you're in the pocket, sometimes you don't need to scramble out. Sometimes just know where your receiver is and throw it in his direction and just throw it over his head. Go to the next
Yeah.
play.
Mhm.
The route concepts. These route concepts taking far too long to develop as opposed to going for checkdowns. But then on the flip side, how many times did we see plays where there were checkdowns to a running back out the backfield, whether it be Gainwell
Mhm.
or Barkley, and instead of taking the quick check down and getting 4 or 5 yards here just to send a message, say, hey, we're on time, we're on schedule. No, we're constantly looking for the big play downfield. So it's
Mhm.
a certain aspect of we need to play a little bit more chess. Even if sometimes the play is, I'm not saying to turn down a big play if it's there. I'm not saying that. However,
Yeah.
if you have the option between big play and check down, and the big play isn't right there the way you want it, sometimes it's better to take your check down instead of waiting for the casino to give you 777. You
Yeah.
follow me? And
Yeah, 100%.
that's going to be even more important going into this game where you're going to have compromised mobility.
Mm.
And a big part of that is leaning on that offensive line and the ground game, which takes us to Saquon Barkley and the historic data he had, breaking Steve Van Buren's franchise playoff record of 196 yards set in 1949, and he broke that with 205 yards. And listen, I talked about this in my prediction video. The Rams, they have a very good pass rush with Jared Verse. They were able to get after Sam Darnold. They were able to shut down Minnesota's run game for the most part, but they don't have the line we have, and they don't have a top tier running back like we do. And the same things that happened last time, I didn't know how the Rams were going to reconcile that and rectify those issues, and they didn't. They gave up what, a 61 yarder and then a 78 yarder. It almost looked like the same run, just to the opposite side of the field. So,
Yeah.
that is your ticket to the Super Bowl and beyond to greatness if you so choose to take it. What do you think about the ground game and what they did against the Rams and what the ground game looks like matchup wise against the Commanders?
Um, do you mean as far as like how Barkley did against the Rams? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, how do you think he did and why do you think he had that success?
I think he had, I mean, there's one exchange where I think I saw it on Instagram too, where Barkley was communicating with Hurts, and it seems like this is where this kid's so special, man. Like, he just, I got this. Like, he legit told him, I don't know if you saw it or not,
Yeah, I saw it.
but he told him, like, he saw something within the defense where, like, I'm gonna score. And what did he do? Fucking popped off a 78-yard run to the house. Like they were so efficient on the ground. There was moments where they looked like they were stopping him a little bit,
Mhm.
because they were keen on. They know they know what Barkley can do. So obviously they're going to try and stop him. But for the most part, he had his way. 205 yards on the ground, very efficient. Barkley doing what he does all year, man. Just a very special player, and just very fortunate to have him on this team, man.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. And he does so many different things in terms of, like you said, not just the physical ability, but the mental acuity to be able to visualize it and then boom, hit the gap and be gone. 3 yards from the
Yeah, I just thought it was a very special moment to see Saquon just say, "I'm gonna score," like just straight up, like just seeing it before, like we obviously didn't see it in that moment, but seeing the video after that and realizing, like, okay, I got this. Like, damn, like you must be some type of special to do some shit like that.
That's a fact, man. It's a fact, dude. You look at Kyron Williams on the Rams. He had a good game. 19 carries, 106
Yeah,
yards, 5.6 a pop. He had a 30-yard run. He did better than the last game, and he
yeah.
he kept a minute as far as I'm concerned. Um,
Oh, for sure.
because you look at Puka Nacua. Look at the amount of targets that their guys got and look at who didn't do damage. Cooper Kupp, 7 targets, 5 receptions, 61 yards. Solid, nothing crazy. He had the 30-yard game, and that was it. You had one catch for 30 yards, and then you had 4 catches for 31. So, yeah, he had moments. Puka Nacua, 14 targets,
Hmm.
catches, 97 yards. He had a good game, but it's not what you need to beat this
For
defense.
sure.
And that's what I like about
No,
fantasy defense. You can put up numbers per se, but individually. But in terms of the
mhm.
amount of points on the board, at the end of the day, they gave up 22 points to a team that just
Yeah,
absolutely, dismantled the Vikings last week.
yeah,
But this is what the Eagles do, though. They give up the
yeah,
second least points per game as a defense. You went from
yeah,
damn near 29th, I think, in points per game last year, or at least total
yeah,
defense, to
yeah. Pretty bad.
yeah, to first in total defense and second in points given up per game. And they came out and they just had an answer for a lot of the things that the Rams wanted to do. And when the Rams had success, they adjusted. Long gone are the days of give up a big play, give up some points, and then try to shell up in a cover three or shell up in a cover two and just hope that one of your players makes a play, a la Jonathan Gannon, a la Wally
Yeah.
Castillo. I'm not trying to rag on previous guys per se. I'm just trying to show the differences, the levels.
Hmm.
These are the things we saw with Jim Johnson back in the day when we would give up a long drive. The adjustments weren't being made per se after the drive was given up. They were being made as the drive was going on. As you guys are sitting on the sidelines, letting your offense go out and do what they do. It just seemed like there was never a moment where they weren't thinking 5 steps ahead to figure out how to stay ahead of the offense. And we were lacking that for a long
Yeah,
time.
100%.
And you see it now.
Hmm.
So I really love what the offense did. Saquon is doing what Saquon does. That offensive line was dominant.
Oh
And,
yeah.
and fortunately, we were able to get a lead and lean on that because when the elements get as nasty as they got, the team with the lead is the one who's going to be favored. So if we would have fallen behind and had a slow start like we've been notorious for early in the year, that would have really hurt us in this scenario.
Yeah.
Once that snow gets on the ground, your pass rush, it becomes tough to get after the quarterback. If they decide they want to run the ball and they have a lead, now you don't have a point of leverage on the ground you can't put your cleats into the ground and drive forward. On the back end,
Hmm.
both the receivers and the cornerbacks were having trouble with the footing. So it comes back to the ground game. If you're able to get that lead and really step on their necks, you want to be the team in that spot, not on the other side. So
Hmm.
they did a good
Yeah.
job of getting that lead and really leaning on that ground game, which culminated in that long run near the end, which brings us to the defense, who played really good all game long. And that culminated on that last drive where it was on the defense to get it done. We thought Saquon had put the nail in the coffin. Um, Not the case. And I always say it's never over till it's over. And we were put into a position where we needed to make a big stop. Vaughn and Carter had been helping us make stops all day. Slay had a big play on that final drive, but really, Jalen Carter, disruptive all day, and when it mattered, he turned into he turned into an all pro. What do
Yeah,
you
man.
what do you think
He
about?
just
Yeah,
absolute game record. Yeah, but like he just, the fun. I remember he had a play where he also punched a ball out of someone's hand. He
yeah,
forced a fumble. I think it was out of Williams' hand, the running back.
correct.
And then, and then that sack was just so huge. It's just amazing, Stan, how disruptive this man is, bro. Like his handwork and just like it's like night and day from like compared to last year. It just shows you the work this man is putting in and the force that he is becoming like such a huge moment in this game to literally save our season because if you I don't know if you saw Stan, but there was someone wide open. He literally, if Carter is not there, walk in touchdown, game's over. So that just tells you how big that sack was.
Mm, mm. Yeah, that's crazy. That is really crazy. And he had the sack. Maybe that's the play before where he had the sack, and then the last one where he forced the errant throw, and he got through so fast, man. He just I, was it Saquon in an interview was talking about Jalen Carter was like I was listening on the radio and maybe it was Saquon or I don't know what player it was, but he was like, man, Jalen Carter was like he's growing, man. On the sideline, he was like, yo, I'm about to do this. And then he goes out and he does it.
Yeah, it's
Like
all about he's not just about the talk, he's about that walk too, man.
yeah, man. Yeah. Like that Georgia Bulldog defense. I mean, damn, if Jalen Carter ain't getting it done, Nolan Smith is transforming into a star before our eyes.
Bro, he's really has come on this year, especially in this playoffs too, the most important time. Like, he's just a dog, man. Like I really love what I'm seeing from this defense, the way everybody's stepping up, losing BG and some of the players that we've lost. And hopefully, Mitchell's okay because he got exited the game early, but sound like it's not too serious of an injury, so we'll probably have him back this coming Sunday.
Right, right. Hopefully, it's just a mild shoulder strain.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was a huge loss. And really Isaiah Rodgers, that's another person. He stepped up really, really big. Um,
Oh yeah.
that interception that turned into a catch, he did everything right on that play. You have to give Demarcus Robinson credit. But Isaiah Rodgers, for the first time in a while, he looked like the guy that we saw from the Colts. He looked like he was
Hmm.
good in coverage. Speed was there. He had confidence. He was making plays, man. And you needed that after losing Quintanamo Bay. You needed that.
Yeah, man, for sure. Yeah, because that's a huge loss for us, man.
Exactly, especially
Mhm.
against that receiving core. So, you know, way to have the guys step up. The guys that when somebody gets hurt, somebody can step in and get the job done. And that's what you need out of your team, that depth. You can't simulate it. You can't, I mean, you can buy it, but
Yeah.
people like that don't grow on trees and to be have the foresight to be able, we had him stashed away for a year with the
Yep.
suspension. And now he came back and played such a big role. And now that move is paying dividends upon dividends upon dividends. So just excellent job by the defense. I
Yep.
was very impressed. Matt Stafford got sacked 5 times, and he did not really get a chance to scramble. He had 2 carries for 5 yards. There was no 15-yard scramble this time. Wasn't going nowhere. So I was
Yep.
very, very, very impressed with that with the defense. He had 324 yards, 2 touchdowns, 97.2 rating. He played good. He played good, but like in the critical moments, that Rams offense was stalling out. Hence why it was a lower scoring game, especially with the elements. You look at the
Oh,
third
sure.
quarter, you look at the third quarter. What do you think the score was for the Rams, particularly specifically in the third quarter? How many points do you think they had in the third quarter, and how many points you think we had in the third quarter?
How many points?
Not the whole
I
game,
don't
just
really
that.
remember for just that third quarter.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think they did much in the third quarter, did they? I don't really remember.
No, they outscored us 5-3. So
5-3? Oh
yes,
my God.
yeah. So when we zoom out and look at this game, people have to really appreciate how much of a slog fest this was and how we really needed to buckle down to beat this team because they're not, they are a solid team that was getting better and you're playing them in very bad conditions where you can't afford to make mistakes. So,
No.
yeah,
Yeah. Every little mistake, Jalen Carter bursting through that line helped us big time, man. And
that's
when it came to crunch time, man, that's where it was important. So, he came up in the most important time because, I damn near almost had the shit out my heart, bro. Like,
yeah,
I mean, it was just, bro. I hate. Listen, I love tight games, bro. I value my heart so much.
everybody lost a couple years looking into this game. And what was also surprising was that the Commanders were able to beat the Lions. I thought that the Lions would win, but I did think that it was a 50-50 game. I thought it would be a lot closer than people realized. I think in my video, my sentiment was I hoped and thought that the Commanders would take a pound of flesh out of the Lions if they weren't able to beat them. But yeah, they came out and the Lions they had control early on towards the end of the first quarter, and then the Commanders just turned it up on them. And I think
Yeah,
they
man.
caught up with the Lions and whatnot. So we'll be playing the Commanders and Jaden Daniels, the rookie phenom. And the crazy part is, after all is said and done, we are still hosting the NFC Championship game in Philly. The road still goes through Philadelphia.
Yeah.
So moving forward, you have the trilogy. The rubber match between these guys. It's almost like Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder all over again.
Yeah.
And in this third matchup, what do you think are some of the key matchups, and how do you see this game playing out?
Some of the key matchups is if Guantanamo Bay plays in this game, I think him and Terry are gonna have an interesting, with how hot they're playing right now. McLaurin's really been stepping it up lately. I think it should be an interesting matchup to watch out for. Um, the one thing I emphasize on and important we really have to do is contain Jaden Daniels. You know, you have to get pressure on him up and early, bro. You cannot let this man slip away because, like, is you see a lot of these running quarterbacks and you just don't see the accuracy. But man, you want to talk about accuracy? This boy, he's accurate. Like, you know, that I forget what pass it was, but it was right. Like some of these passes you see from him are just right in the breadbasket. And I'm seeing this kid turn it up even more now in the playoffs, and this kid's a rookie. So you really have to pressure him early and let him know, listen, you're in our house. We're not gonna let you come up in here and play some good football. We're gonna I mean, he's gonna get his. Don't get me wrong, but you have to contain him. Otherwise, he's gonna. It's gonna be a long day for that defense. But I don't think that will be the case. You know, it's gonna be tough. You know, he's gonna get his, but you
Oh,
know,
yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. And that, look, we've got a chance to see these two squads face off twice this year already. And the first
yeah,
time, we gave them the business. Second time, you had Jalen Hurts get injured with a concussion, and we still should have won the game
hundred
regardless.
percent.
Jaden Daniels was able to really make a lot of big plays in the second half and down the stretch to be able to get them that win late in the game.
Yeah, yeah.
But my question is, can Jaden Daniels be consistently great the whole game? Because um, to have the starter back in versus Kenny Pickett, and I know Jalen Hurts has things he needs to clean up, but Jalen Hurts, when he's starting, it's night and day difference. There's things that he
Yeah,
can do, even with a bad knee, that our backups cannot do. And
100%.
a big part of that is keeping the chains moving. But
Mm-hmm.
that being said, what adjustments have Washington made since then to, combat what the Eagles were able to do? I don't know what amount of just adjustments you can make to mitigate the fact that the Eagles have the most dominant offensive line in football right now. Because when it comes
Yeah,
down, when I meet you on the spot as a guard and you're a D tackle, and I say you're going to move over there, and you say no, and I move you anyway, there's nothing you can do to game plan around that. It just is what it is,
exactly.
right? So,
Right.
and they are very susceptible to the run. And the Lions, without Montgomery and especially falling behind at points, um, they were still able to run the ball. I just think that they were making mistakes, especially turnovers that you can't make in the playoffs. Uh,
Yeah,
Ball security is at a premium. You can't turn the
yeah,
ball, and you can be as
right.
good as you want, but if you turn the ball over and get behind the eight ball, it's going to be tough for you to win whether you're at home or on the road. So, as with this game, ball security, I think, is obviously going to be the deciding factor. We turned the ball over 0 times. The Rams turned the ball over twice. And under Sirianni, we are 32-2, I think, when we win the turnover battle.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're able to do that and lean on that offensive line, I think it's going to be a very, very competitive game, a high level chess match. I just think that we're better equipped. But I'll
Oh yeah.
think about these things as the week go on. But that's my surface level impressions of this game as
Mm-hmm.
it is right now, before we know injuries and all those things.
Right. Yeah. No, you definitely bring out a very good point. There's not much you can do when you have that much of a dominant offensive line, and our defense. We just get better as the game goes on. So what are you gonna do when you got you know Quinyon locking up Terry, and you not much you can do outside of that? I mean, this defense, man. I don't know how much better they can get, but they keep getting better every week, man. They impress me a hell of a lot. And Jalen Carter is he just keeps getting better and better, man. And I just keep going, man. I think we can take this all the way, and then I have no doubt we will.
Absolutely. And before I end this off, um, I would say. secondary player of the game, Oren Burks, linebacker filling
Oh,
in for Nakobe Dean. Played excellent.
oh
Excellent.
yeah,
He
yeah. I'm very impressed.
Yeah, man. So that's a player to keep an eye on to see how he does moving forward because he really addressed an area of concern that was on my mind going into this game.
Yeah, man. Also, I think it's the system too, man. I think this is just Vic Fangio really knows how to bring out the best in his players. I think he's just a very good coach for it. I'm so glad after seeing what he has done with this defense, he has really changed things here in Philly. We have one of the best linebacking cores in the league right now, and one of the best, probably the, if not the best secondary in the league right now. It's insane how much things have changed for this defense.
Absolutely, man. Look, a lot of good things to take from this Rams game. A lot of things to consider going into this matchup between the Commanders and the Eagles at Lincoln Financial Field. MC
100%.
game. It don't get no bigger than that, man. So with that being
Nope.
said, let us know what you guys think in the comments. I mean, I'll be back later this week to give my preview and prediction for the Eagles game as well as the championship game between the Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills. A lot to talk about there as well. Um, any closing notes you have, man?
That's pretty much it, man.
All right, man. With that being said, we're gonna get up out here, and I'll be back here with boxing. Some things to talk about with Bivol Better BF coming up. That's the big rematch coming up. Um, and anyway, getting his replacement fighter, so he's gonna be defending his titles coming up soon as well as Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney. They're trying to iron out a deal as they settle their case in court right now. And then we have confirmation that Terrence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez will be fighting in September. Big fight coming up. So yeah, a lot to talk about.
Mhm.
So boxing heads, I ain't forget about y'all, and I'll be talking about that on the next one, man. Because listen, I got a lot to say about that one. But that being said, y'all be easy, be safe in the snow if you're in the northeast like I am, and catch y'all after the games. Deuces.